Good morning, everybody. It's Tracy Lewin and
Van Smith.
How are you doing,
How
Mo?
are you doing, Trace?
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. It's Women in Bitcoin again, and today I think we're going to have a lot of laughs.
Yes.
Well,
it's on the lighter side of life.
Yes, absolutely. And, obviously we really want to empower, encourage, and enrich as many women as we can. So just firstly, before we kick off, let's just talk to our listeners here, whether you're male or female, please just spread the word. Please, help more women get into Bitcoin. It is so empowering. It's ridiculous. What do you think, Merv?
Well, Tracy, I am so in love with Bitcoins, as you know, and I am a great advocate of more and more women getting involved. You showed stats a little while ago that, the men were like 98% and women are sort of limping along. Well, you know what? We just talk to one woman a day. We'll get this message out there.
Yeah, exactly. And we're going to cause a revolution. It is called the Bitcoin revolution, but we're going to cause something of our own.
Yes.
So let's kick off with this Think and Grow Rich. We've had a few. We've had two other quotes that we've gone through in the past 2 weeks. So Napoleon Hill is he was a real visionary, hey?
He was, and he took a lot of time to research and whatever, and he's sort of like our handbook on success, definitely dealing with the mind, because once we've sorted stuff out in our mind, it actually happens in the real world. So John Keogh in Mind Power says that your inner world, the way you're thinking, is connected to the outer world that you're seeing. And so the first lot of work that we do has to be in the mind, right? So if you think of the beautiful buildings, etc., that you have in Dubai, where did they start? They started in your mind. So that's what we've got to get right. And that's what Napoleon Hill is really, really well known for. So today's adage quote is, do not wait. The time will never be just right. And Tracy, you and I know that to be true. Start where you stand and work whatever tools you may have at your command, and better tools will be found as you go along. And what we're inclined to do is want everything to be perfectly aligned, we want the right tools. We need to know the right words. We've got to do this first and that first. And then when it's absolutely right, well, then we'll start. But that's not what he's saying. He's saying just get started. As you go along the way, you will find perfection. You'll find the tools that you'll need. You'll find people that will help you. You'll find the finances. You'll find whatever you need along the way. They say also that you can't steer a parked car. And that's kind of what this is. If you want the universe or God or whatever to give you a hand, get moving. So that's it, Trace. What do you think about that?
No, well, I totally agree. Because, however, there are many people that procrastinate. There are many people that are also say they throw up their arms and they say they can't start because they don't have any money. Well, you know what? If you don't have any money, you do have some time. And whether you are spending all day at work or whatever, there are moments that you can steal away to actually do and get started on something. So I just think if your will is there, you will find a way, and that's actually how success happens. You have to just you have to push yourself. You have to have this vision and these big goals that you want to achieve. And I mean, Merv, you and I have gone around the block a few times, and we've actually our vision and our goals have really, well, probably not our vision, but our goals have changed, and because we've found different ways to achieve them, and if anything at all, we have made our goals to be even bigger than they were before, because you do need to revisit these things, and your vision as well. Obviously your vision is your ultimate. It's where you want to be, but you have to start.
Yeah. No, you do, Tracy. And actually, listeners, Tracy put out a blog post just the other day on procrastination. And I think, as she mentioned, you know, we're inclined to do that. I certainly am, especially if I feel insecure or unsure of the task at hand. But what I've found is the best cure for procrastination is just do it. So, yeah, your vision and your vision, your ultimate goal doesn't change. Because if you've set it and you set it to your very core of who you truly are, that will never change, okay? So the way to get to that changes and can change from time to time, just as you've mentioned. When we first started in the whole Bitcoin thing, we had far different goals than what we've got now. But the one thing we know is that we're on that right road. We started, and it says here that better tools will be found along the way as you go. And that's exactly what we found. We just take one step after the next, and before you know it, hey presto, we've got something fantastic moving.
Well, you know what? I'm just thinking about this now and thinking that we, you know, last year I really, really, really wanted to get going online. I really, really wanted to. But as I was going along, I needed to find someone I felt like I needed a mentor. I needed somebody who knew the ropes. And the interesting thing is I took to Facebook for that. And, you know, as everybody knows, Facebook is free. You can find these people on there. And I joined a team. But ultimately what happened is the person that I ended up, who is actually mentoring me, is not the person that I initially thought was going to be that one. And you know, the other thing that happened is as I have gone along, I knew that making videos is a good idea. I knew that blogging was a good idea. But guess what? I was procrastinating that I wasn't moving along. So guess what happened? We just did it.
Yeah.
We just did it. And even Women in Bitcoin, we are 9 sessions down already. 9 weeks we've been doing this.
Yeah.
You know what? We just started. Yes. Who knows? Maybe these things are good. Maybe these things are not so good, and people think that we could do better. And by the way, if you've got any suggestions, please add them to the comment box. But you know, we started, so you really just have to start.
That's what it's about. It's just get out there. A little while ago, if it wasn't last week, if I remember correctly, we talked about desire. You know, and you've got a strong enough desire. Don't let procrastination or fear of imperfection or inadequacies or whatever, don't let that stand in your way. Just take that first step. The step of 1,000 miles, they say, begins with the first one. So just get out there. And as you said, you move along the way, you find the tools. People show you things. You meet new people. Money comes your way. You try this, you try that, and you all of a sudden you're down the road, and it has been the most fantastic journey for you and me, Tracy, where we find ourselves today compared to where we were. And if we had to rely on having everything aligned, my goodness, the whole world would be without us. Because we need you to be you. We need you to be the best you can possibly be. That's why you came to this earth. We need you. We need your talents. We need your gifts that you are to the universe. And if you stay and play small because you don't feel adequate, we lose out. So please, guys, whoever's listening, let this touch you in a way that will get you motivated to get started. Just stand up, start where you stand. That's what it says here. And work with whatever tools you may have at your command. And better tools, I promise you, better tools will be found along the way.
Absolutely. So, look, that was wonderful. Thank you, Merv. This was awesome. I'm feeling very inspired, and I also know that personally, I'm in a really good place. But it's taken hard work to be here. You know, it's taken persistence and consistency, and you know, and having a dream, and if you and that's the first thing that you need to do. You need to have that dream.
So what are we on Bitcoins today, Tracy? There's some exciting stuff been going on, hey?
Yes, and look at this Japanese guy over here. He's looking through his glasses. I'm not too sure that he's too happy at the moment, you know, because he might have been busted.
I think he has. I think it's all over for this oak.
Yes, in fact, now you know what? This guy's photograph has been splashed all over the world on the internet, and I wonder if he's actually made any money. You know, he should have maybe put a little bit of I don't know. there should have been something that you can't use your image unless you donate, because this is the Satoshi Nakamoto. But you know what's happened? There's been a bit of revelation, an announcement this week. And this appears to be Dr. Craig Wright, who has put his hand up and said that he is Satoshi Nakamoto.
It was such a shock when I read it, Tracy. I was just jumping up and down and thinking, oh my goodness, he doesn't even look Chinese or Japanese or anything.
Well, it's all in the meaning of the word. Of the words together, Satoshi Nakamoto. But do you know that what actually happened to Craig Wright is that his home was raided in December last year, and was raided by the police, and they say that they were helping the Australian tax office. So, you know, they suspected that he may be not paying his full taxes. And he came out this week saying as well, you know, he just wants to, you know, put this to rest, and he says he doesn't want to be a hero. He doesn't want to be hero worshipped. He doesn't want money. Well, obviously, you know, he doesn't want money, because if it's true, he's got a million Bitcoin. So, you know, he's absolutely smiling. So he doesn't need anybody's money. But, you know, you also need to question, you know, why has he actually put his hand up now? Does it mean that he wants to get more involved in Bitcoin? You know, we've got two different things that are happening this year. We've got the halving of the Bitcoin, which is going to happen in July. So every 10 minutes, it's not going to be 25 Bitcoin that's going to be created. It's going to be 12 and a half. You've also got the changes in the block size on the blockchain. So, you know, does he want to get more involved there? What do you think?
I don't know why he came out. I think I do have a couple of views, you know, because the blockchain is so sort of out there at the moment, and we have so many banks, for instance, with blockchain researchers or developers looking into the whole technology of that. And it may be that he sort of realizes that he's needed because he was the creator of this entire thing.
Well, you know what? He wasn't actually, I don't know if there was only one creator. There was a group of them, and a couple of the guys have died already. So, you know, who knows? But, you know, who knows? You know, he seems to be granting interviews to BBC and to others, and let's see. Let's just watch the news.
Yes, it's exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting. I have to say, though, I was not too worried about who he was. I was happy to think of him as the sweet little Japanese man. But the main thing is this man has given such a gift to the world that it is absolutely incredible. So, yes, amazing. So, let's watch this space.
Yep.
And, you know, because this has happened, I just thought it was a good idea to talk about the blockchain. Blockchain is a public ledger of all Bitcoin transactions that have ever been executed. It is constantly growing as completed blocks are added to it with a new set of recordings. The blocks are added to the blockchain in a linear, chronological order. So, what Craig Wright says is to prove that he is Satoshi Nakamoto. He is going to move Bitcoin from an early block, and it is well known that those blocks, the Bitcoin that were created from that were on those blocks was actually owned by Satoshi Nakamoto. So that's how they believe that this is going to be the proof that he needs. So it's very interesting, Merv.
It is, very. And that's what's exciting about the blockchain, is because it holds absolute. It's not a theory, it's an absolute.
And it is, anybody can actually go into the blockchain. You can go onto blockchain, is it blockchain.info? And you can go in there and you will just see all the transactions happening all the time as it goes over. And that's why, this belongs to the public, it belongs to the people. Bitcoin belongs to the people because it is so, it's open for anybody to see, anybody to track anything. And also, I just want to add this thing in about, we always talk about, there's always some people that talk about the criminal elements, but they're saying that, with all this, with the blockchain and the fact that you can trace things, you can definitely, they're saying criminals should be running away from Bitcoin instead of to it, because they will be caught. Even law enforcement are getting involved in finding out about, or are tracking things on the blockchain. So it's actually it's very, very, very exciting, to have this.
Yeah, it's fascinating, I must say.
Yeah,
and it's a new way. It's a totally new way of thinking, and each generation brings in some genius, and I believe that this is our generation's genius for sure.
Yes. So now we just, for the people who want to know, well, we all want to know how the blockchain works, and the source of this is Financial Times. I didn't think there was a reason to redo this, as it's on a very pretty pink background.
Yes.
So how a blockchain works is A wants to send money to B from the computer, right?
Yep.
Then the transaction is presented online as a block. Then the third stage is the block is broadcast to every party in the network. Another network is everybody who's a miner will actually have, they are in the pool, they are in the network. So, and this is what makes it so cool. Everybody over here has got to agree that this is valid. This transaction is valid. So it moves from there into the block, and then it gets approved. If one of these don't approve, it's kicked out. This is what also prevents double spending, because it's got to be verified by so many people. Then the fifth stage is the block, then can be added to the chain, which provides indelible and transparent record of transactions. So as I was saying before, everything is transparent. It's for people to see. You don't have to, law enforcement, for instance, wouldn't need to go and try and find, or go to the courts to try and get access to records and stuff like that. No, they can just log on.
Yeah, it's in the public domain. Yeah,
and that's why, for me, Bitcoin and the blockchain is incredible. It's an incredible innovation. It's an incredible invention. And, because it's come to the world. And of course, after all of that's happened, the money then moves from your wallet to the other person's wallet. Whether the other person is a shop, a tea retailer, or you're buying your first Lamborghini, that's exactly how it works. Is that simple enough, Merv?
Absolutely. I think it's perfect. It's actually well done to them. They put a very good graphic together.
Yes, they did. So this is one of the changes that's going to happen. It's from, they call it core to classic. So the core block size was 1 megabyte, and classic is 2 megabyte. Now there's been a hang of a lot of discussion around these changes, and there's question whether they need to change the size of the data blocks, because ultimately what they want to do is they want to achieve a more scalable platform. But there are many people that are for it. There are many people that are against it. However, some companies have already, like Coinbase comes to mind, that big exchange, they are embracing it. There's a whole lot of people that are. But you have to remember the one thing about Bitcoin and the blockchain and that technology is the fact that it's a democracy. So the consensus has to be achieved. Don't you think that's cool, Merv?
It is, because you said earlier, it's people. It's the people's money. It's the people's platform. It's all about the people. So that equals or equates to democracy. So yeah, I think it's fantastic.
So this is supposed to happen towards the end of the year. Let's see what, we just need to keep our finger on the pulse here and see how, what the next lot of news is and what people are saying. But, it looks like it might, and who knows, maybe the real Satoshi Nakamoto will step forward and comment. So this could also be one of the reasons why, he's actually put his hand up, because he may have some thoughts and he wants to be taken seriously.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, talking about, you mentioned the investment in the blockchain technology. Do you know that there are so many millions that are being thrown in the development of this technology? So there's investment coming from banks, from large corporations, from countries. Every single week we hear stories, and now Brazil is in, Japan is in, Australia is in. Luxembourg, London, New York, all of these, it's just happening all the time. Have you seen a lot of these articles, Merv?
Yeah, they pop up all over the place. Because it's just such an amazing, fascinating technology, and the possibilities are basically endless. So I can see now why the larger players are getting involved.
Yes, and even in South Africa, there's don't think that South Africa is behind. So they certainly are not. So there's a hang of a lot of work that South Africa is doing as well. And you know what? At the end of the day, if you don't do anything about this and get involved, you will be left behind. There will be somebody else there, whether it's a company or a bank, that's going to be way more efficient than you are. So I mean, even China, Singapore, Brazil, India, gee whiz, the mind boggles to think about all the countries that are getting involved. In Africa as well, there's Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya. So the list goes on. And for me, I don't know if you agree there, I'm sure you will, Merv, but for me, when there is so much interest in this technology, worldwide, with so much money being spent on this, why would you even question Bitcoin? Why would you question not to get involved?
Yeah. No, you're right. Absolutely right.
And then, how about the industry adoption? We know that for years the music industry has lost so much money. Artists have lost a huge amount of money because of all the piracy and the downloading and all that type of stuff. So now these are just a handful of industries that are wanting to get involved, and also getting involved in their own blockchain development. So, and I failed to mention, there's companies like Microsoft that are seen to be leading the charge. IBM doing so well as well. So this is like really, really serious stuff. Insurance companies are getting involved. It's also about sending KYC documents. Imagine going to the bank, Merv, or even to your insurers and say, okay, fine, I'll need to do this. And then they say to you, okay, can you please bring in your proof of address and your ID, please? How many times do you need to bring it into these places?
It's crazy. Every place you go to, every investment, every business, KYC documents.
Yeah.
So are you saying then that they're going to use the technology so we don't have to do that?
Yes, and but obviously you'd have to do it once. You need to do it. If this is your bank, then you do it once. If this is your insurer, you do it once. That type of thing.
Yeah.
So even when little babies are born, births are going to be registered on the blockchain. And of course, real estates are being done at the moment. You know, there's a lot of deals and transactions that are happening with real estate. So, you know, that's fantastic as well.
It's very exciting.
Yeah, so it's really, for me, industry adoption is there. You know, we just, at this point in time, the big guys are in, okay? So we're talking about countries. We're talking about massive companies. These are the people, these are the things that are, the organizations that are involved. But now we need to get more consumer adoption, you know, more understanding of the people. And that's the reason why we're actually doing these shows, so that people can understand that, you know, yes, you can spend Bitcoin to buy things or to save money for your children's education or for your retirement. You can do that too in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So do you know who this guy is?
Have no idea, but he certainly looks very animated.
Yes, his name is Jack Ma. He is the CEO of Alibaba, and Alibaba is the world's biggest retailer that doesn't own any merchandise. So this guy is incredible. And do you know that he actually started off, the interesting story about him, he started off in a little village in China.
Oh, yeah?
Very, very poor family.
Sure.
He struggled in school. He was really, really, you know, he really, really didn't do well. He was an absolute underachiever.
Yeah, good.
But here he says, and now he is one of the richest men in the world. So it also just shows you, it doesn't matter where you come from or who you are. Yeah, so it doesn't matter at all. It just depends completely what is inside of you.
Yeah.
So he says, yeah, one of the secret source of Alibaba's success is that we have a lot of women. And you and I had a giggle earlier. So is this a lot of women who work for him, a lot of wives, a lot of girlfriends, a lot of women shoppers? What is this? I think we should interview him and say, what does he mean here?
Yeah. Yeah, but I think we've said it often is that the woman, you know, especially in the times of war, women just stepped up and took the place that they needed to take to keep the countries afloat. So he's absolutely right here. Success is that we have a lot of women. Yeah. Awesome saying. It's true.
Okay, so now we need to know that we've got a lot of women in Bitcoin. And because it's just the most incredible way of giving a woman independence, you know, and you really don't have to have a lot of money to start. So as long as you've got a wallet, which is free, and particularly if you want to start accumulating your Bitcoin, you know, you don't have to start with a lot of money. Even if you buy, let's talk in South African terms, 500 rands worth of Bitcoin. You won't get a lot, but the fact of the matter is it's a start. So just imagine if when you've got some spare money, you take your 500, you take your 1,000, whatever money you have. Think about not buying that new pair of shoes that's going to cost you 1,000 rand. Or see, you know, when you're coming into winter, can you revamp your old boots instead of paying 1,500 rand for new boots? Do you see what I mean? Put that rather into Bitcoin. Start thinking smartly about how you can empower yourself. What do you think of that, Murph? Do you think that's a good plan?
Absolutely. You know, a lot of people have 100 rand here, 100 rand there. Put that together, and before you know it, you have a fair chunk of Bitcoin. And I was just thinking as you were speaking, I think 0.04 of a Bitcoin is about $22. So $22 in rand terms, what's that? 350 rand?
Yes.
So it's not even a Satoshi. It's a real, you can start seeing the digits, you know. We talked last week about faucets. People could start dripping money from faucets into their Bitcoin. But yes, now's the time. Now's the time, right in the beginning, to get a little bit here and a little bit there. You know, and before you know it, and I think I've said this before, is that your future is built by the little steps that you take each and every day. So just accumulate what you can with what you have. You've got time, so that's where faucets come in. Or if you've got a couple of $100 or $100 or a dollar here, a dollar there, you can get yourself some Bitcoins. You have to just make that decision that this is what I want to do, and just start dripping that in. And I'm telling you, by the end of the year, you're going to be exceptionally glad that you have done that. But yes, success is all about women, Tracy.
You know what I'm going to actually do? My daughter is sort of, you know, because I'm here in Dubai with her, she's just had her third baby. So the eldest one is 4.5, then it's almost 2, and then this new little baby, he's 2 months old now. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to buy Bitcoin to the value of $100 each as a gift. Well, actually, as a gift, I'm going to give it to my daughter, and we're going to open up an account for her, a wallet for her, and she's actually going to have that money, that Bitcoin. So that, imagine what happens in 10 years' time when one of them, well, you know, it starts the start of high school or whatever it is, or even longer than that, 15 years' time. What do you think that $100 is going to be?
It's going to be huge.
Because remember what's going to happen is when you have a wallet and you see that from today you have $100 in there. Okay, so $100 will buy you just short of a quarter of a Bitcoin, because the price is hovering around $450 per, and we'd like to talk in dollars here. So $450, so $100 is just less than a quarter, right? Now what will happen is if that money stays in either in your accumulation program or in your Bitcoin wallet, what will happen is in next year when the Bitcoin price goes up, what's going to happen is your Bitcoin quantity will stay the same unless you're putting in more every month, right? But your dollar value is going to go through the roof. So that's what's going to change. So one Bitcoin today could be $450. One Bitcoin by the end of the year could be 1,200, they're predicting. But it could go to 5,000, it could go to 10,000. And it's going to take some time, but it's going to happen. The world is embracing Bitcoin and the technology. And if you have not woken up to that, now is the time. Better late than never.
Tracy, I've just had a thought, okay? So for 5 listeners today, for those who have got to this part of our recording, so we're not going to write it in the comments, but anybody who's got to this part of the recording that would like to have a little drip of a Bitcoin that doesn't have, I am going to give out 0.01 to 5 people. Okay, so does that make sense, Tracy, what I'm saying? So for the first 5 people that put in their email address under the comment of this video, I will start you off with a wallet if that's what you're needing, but I will be giving 0.01 of a Bitcoin to you to say thank you, and just to let you know that it is that easy. It's just a matter of having a wallet. Let's put some coins in there and let's get you started.
Absolutely. So that's fantastic. And you know, it's very exciting, Bitcoin, I have to say. We have a good time, you know, and I think it's completely consumed our lives. We are so excited and we have hope.
We do, Tracy.
For the future, we have hope.
Yeah. You know, it's so empowering in so many ways, and it's helping some of the people who don't have access to banks. There's just so much that is available because of Bitcoin, and the future is incredibly bright. I'm fascinated by the technology. We've discussed of the blockchain. I'm fascinated at the development of the entire industry. I'm fascinated to see how the adoption rate is it's catching momentum and it's speeding up. Watch the space. It is an exciting time to live in.
Extremely. And on that very, very excited note, I'd like to say cheerio, and we'll see you next week, and have an awesome Bitcoin week.
Yes, and don't forget to get started where you're at. Bye, guys. Thanks for listening.
Cheerio.